Okay, we're live.
We're live.
It was a good
There we go.
weekend, man. It was a good weekend for fishing, Keith, down in Texas.
You did a lot of fishing, eh?
Yep.
You did the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship and the Kayak Adventure Series.
You can't get any better than that, man.
How many millions of dollars are you bringing home then?
Well, I actually, when I got up in front of the crowd, because Drew calls up the guy who's the first man out of a check, I
Right.
begged for gas money to get home. I really did. So
Yeah, you were one spot out, right?
I was one spot out of money. Yep.
Oof.
And
All right.
then
What was the difference in weight from making the money or not?
2 inches, like what, a pound.
Or inches, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was all good though, man. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Bassmaster was fun. People caught some giant fish. I caught giant fish in practice.
Yeah.
Couldn't get to that area on the competition day, but that's no excuse. You just got to find a different way. And there were guys that had horrible practices that caught 30 pounds of fish that day.
Yeah, crazy.
So, hey, guess.
Oh,
okay. What we got a surprise for people.
We do have a surprise that actually worked.
But anyway, Gene, who we have on tonight, was there. We're going to talk to him about it a little bit too. And but I'm going to tell you something. I do want to plug that Kayak Adventure Series because that's what this sport is about. The adventure part where you pick a place to go. I was back in a creek that literally the Outback almost didn't make it.
Wow.
It was I went across the tops of logs, in the water over the top of them. I broke a few branches to get through. I laid my rods on the shoreline so I could get through there. And I caught a 19.5-inch bass in 2 foot of water in a small little pool 200 yards back in the creek. No kidding.
I can see Aaron down there in the green room already thinking, you need a laid back kayak rack.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a lot of fun. The weather was kind of dicey, the wind and stuff, most of the days. But and I don't think anybody needed a de-hooker that day, so that's good.
That's good.
But I have one with me. And by the way, the guy who I stayed with, Don, he ordered one.
Oh, sweet.
So, yeah, he wanted to see it first, and he looked at it, and he how does this thing work? So we did not use my arm. We used a piece of cardboard.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, to show him how it worked. And so he ordered one. So
one of the ways they practice with those too is just like in a pool noodle, because it kind of gives you that texture to practice pulling it out. But that's cool.
Oh, we got Hastings Bloomer from Vibe on here next. So right, and you guys, wait before Hastings comes on though. What's the snow report?
My snow report?
Yeah.
Not much snow. My neighbors have a little pile over there, but there's nothing left. It's been raining and crappy, but there's snow on the mountains, but nothing in town anymore.
Wow. You heard in Nebraska, we had an 84-degree day last week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It snowed 10 inches.
Yeah. Last weekend it was beautiful, and I pulled out all my lawn furniture that we put away in Canada in winter because it has to be put away, and then the next day it snowed for like 2 days, like it always does.
Okay, so here's Hastings Bloomer. There he is.
Yeah, so this is Hastings from Vibe and Kayak Distribution, who Vibe is our bracket sponsor this time. Hastings and I just actually talked today for the first time. Chatted a little bit about his trip that he just came back with his family from Disney World.
Wow.
So we brought him in and thought we should tell us about Disney World.
Yeah. I'll tell you about all the rides.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. How's it going, man?
Spring break. You got to do something with kids. At least now I've gotten it out of the way with my son or my daughter when she was 4 and my son 5. So we got it out of the way with him. And to be honest, I had more fun than I expected.
Okay.
I actually kind of enjoyed myself.
Nice.
So no fish caught in the ponds there. They had very clear signage that to stay back. But it was nice.
Nice.
Wow.
Cool.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for coming, and thanks for Vibe and everybody for sponsoring. And Yeah, it's exciting. We know there's a new boat out there that Vibe just released.
Yeah, we actually have two that will be available for purchase very soon, next month.
Wow.
Very different boats. One is our first sit-inside recreational fishing kayak, a large open cockpit, easy to get in and out, and comes with the standard frame seat, the Hero 2 frame seat, but it's in a sit-inside format. Flush mount rod holders, a console for tackle storage, cup holders, and gear tracks. Kind of the standard features
How big is
on
that?
most fishing
How big is that
kayaks.
boat?
That is a 10-foot boat, 10 feet long.
Hmm.
I believe the width is about 36 inches. It's wide and stable, wide enough to fit a frame seat into, but it
Right.
still has a coaming around the pit. So if one wanted to put a skirt on it, they could.
Oh yeah.
You know, we just got back from a photo shoot for the new boats and spent a lot of time in them. And I gotta say, the consensus among Team Vibe is we like the boat. It actually paddles really well. It's super comfortable. There's room for
Hmm.
a furry friend if you want to bring one along,
Nice.
and it's still functional to fish out of. So that one is called the Shaka, and
Shaka.
it's our first, the Shaka, Shaka, our first kind of wreck boat, our first sit inside for sure.
That's cool.
Kind of opposing that on the more performance end of the spectrum is the new Hydra. The Hydra 130 is a traditional kind of offshore fishing boat, so narrower, um, still stable, but it has less primary stability and more secondary stability. So you can actually get the boat on an edge.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
it's agile, really fast, and it charges through the surf with ease.
I
Has
actually,
a
you
lot
just
of
sent me
rocker.
those. You sent me those pictures
Yeah,
just before we got on, so I didn't even have time to send them to Marty. But Marty, if I share
my
a picture
bad.
with you,
Oh,
can
I
you?
got. I'm actually gonna share what I see on that website right now here.
Yeah, but I was gonna send you this action shot. Is
Oh,
pretty
okay.
insane.
Yeah,
You guys see that?
if
Oh, wait. Let me.
Let me see if I can.
I just seen there. How
so,
about that?
while that's the boat,
It's going in the
that
surf.
is the Hydra. Yeah, and if you can pull up some of those that I sent earlier, you'll have a better appreciation for kind of it's how
Yeah, let
effortlessly
me.
it navigates through the swell. But it's a long, fast, efficient boat that um, was there are a lot of similarities in the design intent behind the old. Keith, help me out. What was it? Your
Yeah,
favorite
is
old boat?
the Ocean Kayak Trident 13. It's a very similar boat to that.
Huh.
So a lot of similarities, but vibified a bit
Yeah,
with all of our standard features. And this is our first um, kind of core performance boat that does not include a frame seat. It's just very, the intent for this boat is not one that kind of puts you high up above the water, raises your center of gravity. It's
right.
to be low and
Oh,
connected
wow.
to the water.
Okay, I'm
Did you
gonna
get that?
share that. Yeah, I'm gonna
Did you?
share it here.
I just sent him that
Okay.
picture of the riding the wave there.
Okay. And we got to
Yeah,
get those guys
we
on
got
here because
Yeah.
Gene's dozing off. I can see him. He's dozing off there.
he's sniffing his JJ's in the corner.
Just a second. We got
so
to share this. This picture, you guys, is nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah.
Let me. Okay, let me get it here.
I'm
And
glad to
that's
see your reaction to
If
the
I can
picture.
find it here.
I had seen a couple sneak peeks from Cody, but looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Good to see Marty's
So
initial reaction like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
it's a super fun boat.
What other
And
color? What other
loaded with
color
features.
options? I've always seen it in that same color.
Oh, right. So um this is a new color for us we call Surge Green, and the purpose for this color specifically is um some studies recently, and Mustang Survival, the PFD companies, put out some really good videos that were helpful, but ultimately this color was selected specifically for maximum conspicuity on the water. That's just a fancy term for visibility.
I was going to say,
Contrasts
sounds like a
against
big
the
word.
ocean color. It is a big word, and I wouldn't know it if it weren't for those videos that I watched. But this is the most visible color for a helicopter to spot
Cool.
when if they're scanning the water looking for someone. So we're calling it Surge Green. We'll introduce Surge Green into our other models in the Vibe assortment, but we'll also have this one available in Raven, which is our gray-black, Wildfire, which is that kind of dark orange, and Galaxy, the blue, purple.
The ones you had before, yeah.
Hey, Keith, cool. This is what Jim Salmons had me do when he was guiding me that one year. He had me at that angle, and I actually surfed the wave all the way and didn't tip over.
You were saying you were the first one to do that with
I was the first one to do that, he said. Yep. Of course.
So that's me 2 weeks ago in the Gulf. Just got a really good day of swell and traveled too early in the morning. Honestly, once I got out through the breakers, it was a little sketchy. I mean, not sketchy, but you're trying to cool photo shoot, and I know how to paddle, but I was a bit intimidated by big waves. The boat handled it with ease. The gravity rudder, which is our rudder that is included with this and Bixby compatible to put a motor on the rudder so you can steer with your feet, is standard equipment on this boat and helped immensely at keeping that boat oriented where I wanted it in that big.
Sweet. So Hastings, when are they going to be available for purchase? The Shaka and the Hydra?
April 25th.
Okay. Another month.
We have some inventory already come. We have a bit of inventory on hand now. We're waiting on one remaining batch to arrive and be ready at our 3PLs to start shipping out. And we do have high hopes for both of these boats.
Sweet.
Cool. Okay, we're going to bring these guys in.
Yeah, I was going to say, thanks so much for coming in, and let's bring on Gene and Aaron.
Yeah.
So, guys, we've got Gene Jensen coming in, who's on his bona fide.
Well, I'm going to add Gene here in a second.
Oh, okay. And Aaron is our first Yakoff competitor coming in with a Kaku, so that's kind of exciting.
If I can find him.
Some very cool. If you haven't seen Aaron's video, you got to check it out. He's got some very different features on that boat. It's pretty neat.
There he is. There's Gene. Can you hear us, Gene?
Yep, hear you just fine.
Okay, sorry about that.
There we go. We're good now.
Gene, I know you had a little trouble getting in. Was it the parental controls or something, or what was it?
Yeah, it was through our network, our parental controls.
Okay.
Just didn't like the website.
I see. Well, I'm going to get things set up here while I had it kind of set up, but you know how that goes. It never ends up that way.
So, Gene, while we're here, congrats on your 5th place finish.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. That's awesome. How was it?
Congratulations.
How was the tournament? You had a good time down there?
Yeah, I just wish I could have caught every fish I saw.
Don't we always wish that?
Well, you go to these lakes like Lake Fork, and you just, in practice, you just want to hammer them every single day. And it's just like, I hate practicing on lakes like that. I'd much rather just fun fish.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was a blast.
It was. I really didn't figure them out until tournament day, but I found a creek to focus on, and then worried about that come tournament day. The wind just made it so much more difficult to just pinpoint and locate schools. So
yeah. I was on bedding fish, and the really big ones, they just looked at me and stared me down. But I did get a 19.
Good.
Off a bed. Pretty cool. That was fun.
That's
awesome.
So anyway,
what was your biggest during the tournament, Gene?
The biggest one didn't count. I caught it and took the picture 30 seconds late. So, yeah. My biggest was I think 22 and a half, and I caught a 22 and 3/4. And like I said, it was late. It would have put me in second place.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Solid fish.
And Aaron, you do a lot of redfish fishing and stuff down there, right? North Carolina?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I sure do.
Nice.
Still do a little bass fishing, but got a lot of more redfish in my blood now than what I did do the largemouth. But yeah, live on lake. Lake's right behind me, so I'm able to get out there. Still fish a little bit on the grass. Grass is just now coming up here, so
Nice.
they're starting to move.
You've got a guiding business as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. What's really cool here though is, Aaron, your setup is totally opposite of what Gene has, but at the same time, you guys are using setups that help you where you're at and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about kayak fishing, is that you can have your own unique setup for where you're at.
Well, and that's a key part of rigging up a kayak. Yeah, if you just do one type of fishing, then make everything permanent. But then one of the advantages is being able to customize it depending on the body of water you're fishing.
Right. Like for instance, I didn't use a motor in practice. I just kind of went around and pedaled around and got as far back as I could. And then when the tournament day came up, I wanted to get somewhere fast, so I put the motor on.
Yep.
Right.
And so it's kind of cool. But both your setups are really good. And Gene, you're like the first Starlinker, I think, in the world, right?
Yeah.
I got to hear about this. It's awesome.
Yeah, I've been wanting to put a Starlink on there for 2 years at least.
Yeah.
And the antennas were just always too big. I tried to figure it out, and then it also cost an arm and a butt cheek to be able to afford the roaming service.
Yeah.
Well, the day after they changed it to where roaming service was only $15 more than your normal service, I jumped all over it. I bought the mini because they came out with the mini antenna at the exact same time. So I bought the mini, sold my old antenna, and when I got it home, I just figured out how to mount it to the boat using 1/4-20 inserts into a little thing that I made that fits into its pipe fitting. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Are you good friends with Elon Musk then?
No, I still haven't gotten him to share any pictures or video of my my Starlink.
I should. However, Yakoff is now coming out with a new cutting board, like on the top of their track packs, to go on top of the Starlink antenna.
Yeah,
and some
I've got one.
Rod holders you can attach.
Are you home then, Gene? Are you already home?
Yeah, I'm home. I got home last night about 7 or 8 o'clock. So.
Nice. And friendly reminder, please send me a picture of your setups, or your lures.
Yep. I'll do that first thing in the morning. I don't have the ABS one because I gave it to Russ Snyder's on stage and let him have it.
That's okay. Just whatever you want to send. Yep. I just want to get you in there because you deserve it.
Yep, I got you. Cool. I'll get it to you tomorrow morning.
That's good. Include them on the Wired.
I do those top bait articles for Bassmaster.
On Bassmaster, yeah, sweet.
And now for the Kayak Adventure Series too. So Russ is doing double duty this week.
Yeah.
Great.
So anyway, so tell us. Let's do this. I'm going to play Gene's video a little bit here, and we don't play the whole thing because we want people to go in and watch it. And by the way, those of you that are watching, remember you can go vote. You can vote every day, and it renews every day. So.
And this is the last round, last battle of round 1. So we're moving on to round 2 next week.
Yeah. So I'm going to play Gene's.
What is going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen, and we're going to do a walkthrough of my PWR 129 from Bonafide. It is an amazing boat, and it fits me like an old work boot. But before I get started, I want to talk about the rules of when I rig a boat. I want a kayak to be very, very fishing efficient. And in other words, I want to be able to get the most cast in during the day, no matter what I've got to do, retie or anything else. So that's how I have it rigged up. I have it rigged up to be able to maximize the number of casts during the day. Say, I've got to stop and retie or stop and tie on a new lure, and or I've just got to cover the bank and I want to be able to cover the bank fast and be able to make the most casts. That's why I've rigged all this up. It is so important because the more casts you get in during the day, the more presentations you make to a fish and the more fish you catch. Always, 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 always. All right, so let's walk through it. All right, real quick before we go any further, this is for a competition. There's a link down in the description for you guys to go vote.
Okay. That's good, man. I love that part of it when you did that.
Yeah.
And all you guys can see what's behind him, but you need to play the whole video to see what he's got on there, because I remember launching with you, Gene, a long time ago. You had your Bonafide, but you've got way more stuff on there now than you did. So tell us a little bit more about it, you know, what you got on there.
So like I said, it's all about efficiency for me. So I through the years, just one thing at a time, finding the right place for things to make the time between casts shorter.
Yeah.
You know, so if anything I've got to do between one cast and another, I want to make sure that it is the least amount of time so I can get a cast back in, especially for bass fishing. And so, like, I've got magnets underneath my seat to hold my tool.
That's cool.
So I can get to them really fast. I've got my net in the exact right place to be able to get it out fast. I use the old Yak Attack dipped coated net because it's faster. It's not a slow, rubber net that's hard to get out and the wind catches and you have to, and it's slow in the water. So, and it's lighter too, is what.
Would you say your recorded time is 0.7 seconds?
Yeah, the one I looked at, because you edit and you have the seconds and everything else while you're editing. Yeah, 0.7 seconds. So a fish can be coming out of the water, and as it's coming out of the water, I can be reaching back and grabbing the net and get it up underneath it before it gets back under.
And people don't realize that. Like, I've timed myself on catching a fish, put on the board, and back in the water, and I've done it in less than 8 seconds.
Yep.
Every time. But people don't realize, I watch guys and they'll spend 3 minutes measuring one fish.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
And you probably heard Rick Clunn talk about this, where efficiency is everything. And he one time he took a reporter, knew nothing about fishing, but this reporter counted all of Rick Clunn's casts that day. And that's kind of how we started thinking about it.
And then so the track packs, I have them sitting up on the dry pod up front. I got 2 track packs. The one on top is whatever plastics I'm using at the time. And so those are always there. And as I change out stuff like that, those get changed out.
Yeah, they're there. I can see them there.
Yep.
Yeah, you see them there in the middle.
And then the bottom track pack has the dividers in it. And one of them is just the hooks and the sinkers I'm using at the time. A peg, punch stops and stuff like that. So if I break off, I don't have to turn around and dig in my tackle box. I've got it sitting right there. I can jump on it and get it. And then I've got, of course, my favorite lures being chatterbaits, swim jigs, and depends on the lake I'm at. Those get changed out all the time too, but everything's right there in front of me and really fast.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's another subject, Keith. That's something too that a guy could make videos on, as a fish, just on efficiency.
Yeah.
I have some similar things, like my Nikos are below my knees, in a compartment, but I can change a Nico out in 5 seconds,
Right.
Whereas some guys are going to reach in their garbage bag up in the front part of their kayak and pull it up and try to find them in there, You got to be high.
Marty, you were saying you get a fish out and back in the water in 8 seconds? Is that what you said?
8 seconds. Yes, I can do it in 8 seconds.
You know what we should do? Like a split screen with a rodeo and a guy riding a bull for 8 seconds.
There you go.
You really catch and release the fish.
I'm talking about once I lift it.
A lot of sponsorships, including rodeos and this stuff.
There you go. Yeah. Anyway, and that's why I run a catch all you can tournament, so guys can practice, putting that fish on the board and getting it back in the water as soon as they can, But I get, when you catch a big one, though, Gene, it does take a little more time.
It does. That big one that I caught, I was throwing a bull shad, trick shad, and the treble hooks got caught in the net.
Yeah.
And I popped it loose and plopped it on the board and took the picture and looked up, and it was already 30 seconds over. And so I tried to submit it and just to see, and of course it got rejected. But you don't just quit then. I just submitted it, and then Steve-O texted me like 30 seconds, 45 seconds later. Sorry,
so
man.
That's the rule in those tournaments. You have 30 seconds to get it.
You have to have the picture taken by
certain time.
There's like 6:30 and 59 seconds.
Yeah. And I actually practiced this, Keith.
Huh.
I practiced in practice. I'll say, okay, it's on the hour. I'm going to try to catch fish, and then I got 30 seconds to get it measured and back, taken.
And I practice getting my net out. If I find bobbers all the time this time of year, I'll throw bobbers out on the water, and I'll hit my motor going full speed, and I'll try the last possible second, grab my net, and try to scoop up the bobbers.
That's awesome.
I practice just like you practice a baseball swing.
I see an instructional video coming out from Gene Jensen on that soon.
Well, then I have to give up my secret about my net. I'm trying to get Yakoff to go back to those old dip nets and stop using those heavy rubber nets.
Yeah. Now, Gene, this is something. Oh, is he still talking? I can't. There's something I do with kids is I'll throw out bobbers on a lake when I'm doing stuff with kids, and I have them. They practice maneuvering and picking up the bobbers out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to get close enough without leaning over and stuff. But that teaches kids how to maneuver, and it just practice by doing it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Marty, this sounds like a good chance for a plug for your bobber hoodoo kayak giveaway.
Oh yeah, real quick. So we're doing a doggy paddle tournament. No, Gene, no motors, no sonar, no pedals. You can have Starlink, but it's paddle only, and it's called the doggy paddle because the entry fee is a bag of dog food or treats for our local Hearts United for the dogs.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're giving away a hoodoo kayak,
and
I know we got Vibe on here. I don't mean that, but Vibe, you're welcome to put one in there too. I don't care.
We may just do that.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, I'm serious because here's the deal. This is for a good cause, and we're hoping it goes to other Hearts United. People see this and do this. But anyway, to win the kayak, we're putting bobbers out in the lake, and you have to find a bobber with a number on it, and you bring it back. And if you call your number, you win the kayak. So it's not like just a drawing where you stand there and get it, And then for the paddle, you have to bring your own stick, and you throw it out in the water, and having a dog retrieve the sticks. And the first stick back, they win the Bending Branches paddle.
Label your stick. But Hastings, just so you know, when Hoodoo was on here, we told them Vibe was giving us a kayak for this too. So now we
well, they're
you're on to something.
Sponsoring it too, and we have various sponsors for it, and stuff. And we're giving away little tiny paddles, wooden paddles that say first, second, third, But and there's no money involved. We have the micro bag at Z-Man's. We're doing a micro bag. We're doing the big bass and all that. But it's going to be, and we're going to camp out. It's going to be fun. So, Gene, what do you think? Are you in? Okay.
I hurt so bad after I paddle. It's not even funny. I just got too many injuries. So
yeah, I get it. I get it.
And plus, I don't fish for exercise. So
I do.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. When I paddle, it just my back kills me, and then I can't pedal because I got a bad hip thanks to the United States Army. So
yeah.
So
you're okay in your kayak now, though. I mean, you feel comfortable in it?
I got it. As long as I got enough battery, I'm good to go.
Yeah, nice. So what about maneuvering? How do you maneuver your kayak in tight spots?
With my remote control.
Okay. How shallow can you get?
I'll reach up and shallow it and adjust it as I need to. Heck, as long as the prop isn't hitting the boat, I usually can maneuver pretty good, especially down in Florida or like we were in some of the tight places on Fork.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to get Aaron's video.
Yeah, let's get on to Aaron here, and I want to see some parts of this boat that are super interesting.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Aaron Miller, co-staff for Kaku Kayaks. Just want to show you the walk around with the Kaku Zulu, one of my favorite crafts that I fish with pretty much on a daily and weekly basis. So I do have this thing set up on the trolling motor, but you can see also where it has the bracket for the pedal drive that is easily that you can put in probably 3 or 4 minutes, not a problem. Just to do a walkthrough real quick, you can see how it does have the Carolina flare on it, which it's very stable and takes takes rough water real well. It's really shallow walls, but
okay, all right. There's a teaser.
Go skip forward a bit and show us that laid back kayak rack. I'm sure lots of people haven't seen that before.
Let me get that.
Pretty neat.
Laid back kayak rack?
Like his black pack, basically.
It's not what?
It'll be right after that part.
Right there.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, try there. Does that look right, Aaron?
Reds or
about right
just
there
watching in them primary, secondary creeks. Moving on back, you got the laid back kayak rack. I really like this unit right here. They're actually made in North Carolina. Very solid unit. They mount right up to the track system.
Interesting.
Just watch what it does though. 1 second.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I really like that. So it'll fit any kayak that you can even imagine on the width of anyone because of the spacers that it has here. What I do like about this is it is water repellent. Put all your gear in it, travel down the road, and you're good to go. Also on the back it has 5 rod holders. What I like the most about this unit is this is actually a trolling unit. So I can take this, pull this out on each side.
Okay, is that enough?
Yeah, that's cool, eh? Splits
Wow.
it out.
Laid back kayak. What do those cost?
Yeah, they're roughly about $250, $285. So they're not badly priced. They make several models. They make one that takes a bag. They've got one that has the, I guess, like the square holder, and they've actually got another one that they've introduced as a live well. So it's the same unit, but it's got an inner layer in it that you can put as a live well too, so that if you're live bait fishing, a lot of the guys around here that have them, they use them for striper fishing or cat fishing or just, even just, getting out of the way. The good thing about it is that whole rack system or rod system actually lays down to like 45 degrees. So if you're going under a bridge, you just lay everything back and you can just scoot under a bridge without taking your rods out.
Yeah, so it's got like a little lever, right? So it just drops everything backwards.
Yes.
And then you like lift it back up. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's my struggle. I would take my rods out of all the rod because I don't. So if I'm taking 2 rods, I can lay them down horizontally. But if I have 8, then they're all sticking up and got to take them out. So that's a good idea.
The audience will have to go watch it to see how it works.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I enjoy mine. It's definitely something that I enjoy. Even the clients, going down the lake or in the back creeks or going under the bridges that we go under. It's easy for them to just lay it back and roll out, and just depending on how much gear you want to take. If I don't know, Gene, you're probably like me. I like taking a lot of stuff with me. So, it turns from just trash fishing to trying to figure out that bite, which one, what they're doing that day. Once you get locked in, then, you can turn it out from there, but just finding that bite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hastings, you got any questions for him?
It's certainly inspiring in many ways. I was actually just taking some notes.
There you go. Yeah.
Going. But I think I understand it. I can't wait to get my hands on one. How long has it been on the market?
Layback's been on the market now going on about 2 years. They're actually out of Albemarle, North Carolina. So
Yakoff has such a great crate. Looked at crates, and
yeah, they're solid.
They're solid. So didn't want to go after that, or even kind of that was not the low hanging fruit. But I haven't been studying this category. It's great to see that somebody's come out with something innovative here.
It's
do
just
you
cool
actually
enough,
use it to troll? Do you troll, or do you know of people that troll successfully?
Oh yeah, I run planer boards off of them. Mm-hmm. When we're striper fishing on the lake and stuff, I control actually up to 2 sets of planer boards on them and still have a center line. So, and still run, my 2 on the side of my kayak off my my other Yakoff rod holders. I can downline those pretty well. So actually, I could fish 6 lines, 7 lines easy.
Jeez. Do you guide with the same kind of boat?
Yes.
Wow. What's it cost for a trip?
So a trip out on the water for 2 people is $450 a day.
Man, no wonder I get yelled at here. I only charge $150.
Yeah.
But the other guides in the area always get mad at me because they said I undercut them. And I'm like, whatever.
But I love that. Like, there's so many crates out there, but Yak Attack's doing an amazing job with theirs. Railblazers come out with a cool one now. Wilderness Systems, all that. But now this company too. I met them, I think, at ICAST or somewhere a couple years ago, where they had 6 rods, but they were all stationary. Then they made the middle one only stationary and added that flare out for trolling, but also that raised up legging system where you can lift it up higher, right? So you can like gain 6 inches off your cracks. So you can have that underneath space too. It's just cool. Like, not that one is better than the other, but that one works for you. And I love my black pack, and like everybody loves whatever they're using, or they use like a bunch of different ones. But it's just that innovation that a milk crate has turned into all these different things for all these companies. It's awesome.
I saw one the other day that somebody had taken and made it to where when you open the lid of your short stack on your black pack, you were able to have rod holders behind it, and the rod holders leaned back with the lid opening it up. A lot similar to that one where it flares out, but instead of flaring out, it just laid back so you could have 4 extra rod holders on the backside. Because that was the problem with the short stack, is that you had to get rid of rod holders on that backside.
Took them off the backside, right?
Yeah. So this guy had figured out some way of a hinge system that would literally push all 4 rod holders out and away.
That's why kayak fishing is so cool, because everyone tinkers with so much crap that it turns into a business for lots of people.
Yep.
Super fun.
I got to show you something here in a second, but go ahead, keep talking. I'm gonna.
I have another question. Does the bait well conversion kit? It sounds like that's what it is. Is that? Can you elaborate on exactly what that is?
Yeah. So, what it is, it's got an inner liner to it that has a pump that actually pumps water in and will pump water out.
Yeah.
So it's always pulling in fresh water and dropping your per se dead water out. So it's oxygenating.
All right. That helps understand. I was thinking about the color and the temperature and how it had like a bubbler in there.
What's the name of it? Kayak? Laid back
kayak.
Laid back kayak.
Yes.
Rack.
There's see that rack there that I just put up? That's mine about, I don't know, almost 2 decades ago. And you can see where I stuck them out wide. I don't even know why.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then you see all the lures just stuck in there. But that crate is, 1 second here. That crate is right. Just so you guys know how we started. You guys see that one? That's the crate. And bought that on eBay for $5 back in 2000 or 2001. And it's a wire-rimmed milk crate. And I still have it.
You can now find it in the National Kayak Fishing Museum.
Someday you will, because I still have it. It's got all kinds of. I mean, maybe I don't. Who knows? But it's amazing how far we. Gene, did you start that way with the old milk crate?
Yep.
And I think everybody must have.
So even on and PVC pipe, my original camera holder, when I was in my big boat, I was one of the first fishing YouTubers to ever use a GoPro for a main camera. And I made all that out of PVC. And then when I started jumping back into a kayak or into a paddle boat, because I grew up fishing out of a canoe all the time. I mean, like years and years in a canoe. And so when I jumped back in, it was me staring at all the fittings and everything in the PVC aisle at Home Depot and Lowe's. I'd spend 2 or 3 hours staring, trying to figure out things to invent.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I don't know how many podcasts we've done, Marty, and this is the first one I haven't heard your snorkel story yet.
Okay, should I tell it?
You have to.
Okay, well, first of all, look at his YouTube channel. This is nuts. 476,000 subscribers. There's not even that many people in Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas total.
Whatever.
But no, Gene, I don't know if you know this story, but back in the day, and I have a picture of it to prove it, I took on a Wilderness 135 ride. I wanted to see what the structure looked like, so I bought a little tiny, fish or sonar unit, and I needed to get the transducer so I could see the bottom. And if you hung it over the side, it would go. The water would move it, so I couldn't get a reading. So I took a snorkel and broke it off and used that pipe from that snorkel and attached it to my boat and slid the wire up through, and so it didn't move. And I pulled the wire up and the transducer snug, so I had a transducer extender made out of a snorkel.
Snorkel.
And
that worked.
Heck yeah.
I don't know if I got it here or not.
Marty's sponsored by Patty.
This here, if you guys can see that, you can see the early days there. A 135 ride. And that's what I put the snorkel on, was that one. I was catching wiper, but that sonar unit, they would be like little specks on there and I knew where I was at, But anyway, Gene, that's an incredible YouTube channel you have, and he teaches people fishing through that,
Yeah. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. Yeah. That's a plug for you guys that subscribe to his. Do you have one too there? Let me see here. Hold on a second. Aaron, do you have one?
Aaron, you have one for your channel, right? Or your guide service?
What's that?
What's your name?
You have a YouTube channel for your guide service?
No, I don't, man. I actually had one for a hunting guide service, but
you know what? Actually, something what you guys might not know is Aaron had his own bait company. He's actually been to ICAST with swim baits.
Really? Yeah, Aaron's
baits. How'd you think of that name?
Well, thought long and hard, but finally come up with something and to ring a bell.
Yeah. You've been to ICAST, right? For Aaron's baits?
Yeah, we've been about 4 times down there. Yeah, actually, the first year that Glenn went with layback kayaks, I told him, I said, Glenn, you really need to get to ICAST to show this thing off.
Right.
You can see it. So, I think he was skeptical going at first, but once he got down there, I think he was pretty pleased with it. Made a lot of good connections, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, for sure.
I never heard about it until I saw your video. When I saw it on the video, I go, what the heck is that thing?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty cool. Now, what kind of baits do you make?
We're into swim bait.
Yeah, paddle tail swim baits.
I just wanted to be sure we weren't competing with the Nico thing. That's why I wanted to.
No.
Yeah. Now you guys know that Easton Fothergill won the Bassmaster Classic with the Nico. He did.
Wow. It wasn't like Iaconelli. He just threw it once or twice just to say he fished it in the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it a kayak jack, Nico?
It was not. But I did talk to Mr. Cruz, and he said, send me some. So
nice.
I'm going to send him some. Anyway.
Cool.
So what was I going to say? Never mind. Go ahead, Keith.
I wasn't saying anything.
This is so cool. This is probably, I think, the best matchup because of how different they are.
Yep.
Yet they're both very successful in what they do.
And different. They're set up for different species too, and it's different platforms, and it's interesting.
And they're not. It's not Hastings. Would you agree? It's not like they went into a store and bought it and started using it. They did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed listening to Gene's explanation at the intro. Can't wait to go into Aaron's video and watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
So you definitely got a few extra views from me coming after this.
And Hastings, if you haven't been following the Yakoffs, when you go in there and vote, you can win yourself your own Hoodoo kayak, motorized by a Newport with a Malone Auto racks and some Guardian Angel lights.
And
even with Gene, man, back in 2017, 2018, him and I were back at nationals down at Kentucky Lake for the KBF. I think Gene, you were there too for the $100,000 one as well.
Sure.
Yeah. And
I was actually doing. I was filming with Chad for that one. I didn't fish it, but I was there.
Yeah. And even back then, I've watched a couple of your videos, but just talk to you personally and, meeting you in person, and, the advice you've shared with me in the past has been good. So yeah,
Awesome.
I appreciate it. That's what it's all about, man. It's just, connected and, sharing, not going out and saying, well, I caught it right here on this and that, but just giving you that idea of, hey, man, you might want to try this.
Can I tell that story, Keith, what happened to me yesterday or day before yesterday?
Did you what? Sorry?
Can I tell that story, what happened during that tournament the other day?
Of course.
So Gene, I'm going along. There was only three of us on Bonham Lake, but Barry Davis and myself were on the lake, and then there was a guy named Pat Magruder. You ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, I didn't know him. I didn't know who he was. Anyway, we passed by each other, and I say, "How's it going?" He said, "Hi," and I said, "How's the fishing going?" He says, "Well, I caught a 22-inch bass. It's the only bite I've got all day." I said, "Man," he goes, "How many fish you caught?" I said, "I caught about 15." He goes, "Really?" And he says, "How you doing that?" And I just said, I'm throwing a jackhammer, and I go on back to the cove, and I never see him again. And I get done with the tournament, and he messages me on Facebook, and he asked me if I caught any more and how I did. And I caught a lot more, and I got 93 inches. And he said that he had caught just that one fish that day. Well, he went out today and just blasted them based on the information that I gave him, and in the same creek channel, and said it was the best bass fishing day in his whole life.
Wow.
And wow. So he go, and no kidding. He says, karma is going to come your way. So he says, I didn't know he made swim baits. And so he makes these $200 swim baits and says, pick one that you want. I'm like, wow. And so he's sending me a swim bait for that. And then he ordered a bunch of Nico heads just a while ago.
Yep. Yeah, you never know.
And I didn't expect any of that.
Right.
You don't either, Gene. It's just that I said, you made my day by you catching those fish. He goes, no, you made mine. And I know, Gene, Aaron, you guys, because Aaron, you guide. When we guide, it's so rewarding to see people catch fish when we show them what to do,
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, one more question. Gene, do you guide at all?
Yeah, I got on Gunnersville.
Okay, so here's the deal. Keith, you know this question. When you guys guide, have you ever guided a couple, like a man and a wife?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Yes. Have you experienced the man has the ego and knows what he's doing, and the wife says, hey, whatever, you just tell me what I got to do, and they catch all the fish, and the guy catches nothing? Is that true?
So when I guided, goes back, but when I guided that private resort in North Carolina, I was just a glorified fishing caddy is all it was, because it was a stock lake and everything else.
Right.
But we had a return customer, and we would draw straws on who had to guide him. Because he would blame everything on the guide, and every issue that he had was the guide's fault, and the fact that he couldn't catch fish was the guide's fault.
Yeah.
So we got to the point where that guide only had to guide him the first half of the day, and then after lunch that somebody else had to take him out. But we would always put him with either his wife or one of his kids, because they would absolutely shellac him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so he was, and I asked his wife one time, I was like, "What's his deal?" She goes, "He's a Democrat." I'm like, "What?"
Oh man!
I was like, she goes, "I'm conservative." I said, "Well, how do you stay when?" He's like, "He's got money."
Oh man! That's like when I had I remember one couple I had. The guy says, "I know what I'm doing." He took off on his own, and the wife, she's catching 4 and 5 pounders, and she's holding him up. Look, honey, another one. He probably comes over like a whoop pup. Okay, I'm ready. What do you got for me? But you've experienced that too, Aaron?
Yes, I have. Actually, I had a trip. Was guiding a couple. Just been engaged probably about 7 months, took them on a trip, and the wife was more of a fisherman, I think, than what he was. So she would slam it. I mean, catching nice striper, and he literally just, I guess the ego got the best of him, and he just started paddling back to the ramp, and I literally had to cut on my trolling motor wide open and like say, hey, where you going? Where you going? Let's go back up this way. And just, try to pin him back, get him calm, cool, and collected, and kind of stayed near him a little bit where he caught a fish. So once he caught a fish, he is happy. But yeah,
wow, that's pretty
they don't
cool.
take it so much.
Okay, cool. I got another question here, Keith. One, based on your guys' experiences, your modifications that you made, were they based on, most of them based on, hey, I got to figure this out, or did you get the idea from somebody else? Tell us about that. Like some modification that you made that it was like out of necessity that you did that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things. It's all a problem solving game. Yeah. Really, it is. Yeah. You identify a problem and then you try to figure out whether it's something you came up with or something that somebody else came up with. Like the lever system.
What about
to be able to pull the button on the XI3? I got that from somebody else. But with me being a YouTuber and everything else, I always have to try to make sure that I give those people credit for those ideas.
Sure.
And then,
what's your favorite modification you came up with and did yourself for each of your
there you
boats?
go.
The two of them, it's the magnets under seat and my catchboard holder that I made out of Kydex.
I saw that. Yeah.
What are the magnets?
Even in your
the
magnets under your.
They're really strong rare earth magnets, and they hold my tools. They'll even trailer with them holding. I mean, they don't fall off at all. And it's so I can get to my scissors and my pliers like that, and so I can retie or do whatever I need to,
And that's similar to Jody Queen has magnets on his catchboard underneath his feet.
Yeah.
Wow. Aaron, what?
And Gene, you made your catchboard holder yourself, right?
Yeah, I did, just out of necessity, because I want my catchboard in a specific place, and I don't want to have to lock it into something or anything else. Literally, I just drop it in that slot, and just gravity makes it lock in. And then to get it out, I just reach back and grab it. I don't even have to look, and it just comes right out.
Yeah.
The best part of your video is when you explain that, and then you say, "Give me some credit if you copy it."
Yeah, because somebody's going to copy it. I was like, "You copy it, just give me some credit."
Yeah. Wow. How about you, Aaron?
I think one of the things that, that I've been pleased with just on my side is, I was looking for something that's easy for me to get to as far as a cutting board. If I'm, chucking for some striper or whatever in some of the lakes is, just have a cutting board close to me. So I took a Yakoff transducer holder or the Humminbird mount, and I actually put some EM 2000, which is pretty much a cutting board on it, and drilled some holes on the end where I could actually Dremel that out where I had my knives right there, but it was right there beside the seat, and had a place where I could have extra hooks in case somebody broke off. I could, get them rigged up back in the water pretty quick. And I actually added another piece of that board, just tied it into my rail system where if I wanted to stake out with the power pole in the back, I could stick another stake out right through it just to hold it in place. So
cool.
Little modifications like that, just makes a little difference in how you fishing.
Yep.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay. Any other questions? Oh man, I had one. Oh yeah, here's a question. Steven Sturgeon asked, "It looks like a good way to stage rods in front and still have a good well to measure fish." And then what he said was, has anyone used the laid back system up front instead of in the back?
Huh.
I haven't, but I don't see why you really couldn't if you had the room in front to do it with, like the new Bonafide that they come out with. It's got a boatload of room in it. In the
and
front,
it's just on your tracks, right?
Yep.
Exactly. So I don't see really why you couldn't. Like Kaku's come out with the new Guru this year. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's a pretty cool little.
I was going to ask you about that. Have you been on it?
I have, and I've got one coming. I've not been on it yet, but
I figured.
Can't wait to. get on.
Yeah, we've got that coming out in our buyer's guide next month, so that's been fun to chat with Kevin about at Kaku, and yeah, that looks like a nice boat. Different.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Setup's pretty solid. Holds up to a 6 horsepower motor, or
most of the kayaks seem to be coming out about now. Is there a reason for that? Is there, Hastings? What do you think? Why is there? Why do kayaks are coming out like in February, March, April?
Because the kayak angler buyer's guide season.
Oh yeah. Historically, dealers place orders, especially dealers where most of these more premium boats are sold, place orders in the fall and commit to a ship date, and they need inventory. And so it's warming up, as we mentioned, and now's the time that they can turn boats. So it is strategic.
Hastings has been in the industry for how long? Quite a long time with Confluence, right?
Yeah, I guess almost 20 years, 19 years. I was at Confluence for 16, 17, cut my teeth there, started in the warehouse. I was going to law school, planning to go to law school, and then working at a law firm, hated it. And I was a paddler, a raft guide in college, and had a whitewater boater. And so working in a warehouse is great. Yeah, I know. I've been around a lot longer than I thought I would be, and my 16-year-old self would be ecstatic if he knew that this was the industry that I ended up finding a place in.
That's pretty cool.
Great, that's awesome.
And where do you live, Hastings?
I live in Greenville, South Carolina, right by the Confluence manufacturing facility. Work from home most of the time.
Huh. When's the next issue coming out there, Keith?
The next issue we're going to print in like less than 2 weeks, and it'll be out at the end of the month, pretty much. It's the next issue is the buyer's guide for both Paddling Magazine and for Kayak Angler, so that'll be pretty cool. And at the end of this show, we'll give away a couple annual memberships to Kayak Angler and Paddling Magazine. Marty wants to do a giveaway.
I've got one hanging on the wall right there.
A magazine?
Yep.
Are you on the front?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I bet you that's why.
Well, it's my silhouette. Nobody can, unless you know it's me, you can't tell. So
that's cool.
I know what Gene and Aaron, I'm thinking about writing an article on guides, like kayak fishing guides.
Yeah.
Good idea or bad idea?
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a question
about guides on Gunnersville need to read it because they still think I need a captain's license. So
you don't have to have a captain's license for kayak?
No, because captain's license covers the operator of the vessel.
Yeah.
So
Aaron, do you have you have to have a captain's license?
No, not on that. Like you said, it's for a vessel for hire. In other words, it's got to have a motor. It's got to have people on board. A kayak.
They're not on your board.
Okay.
They're not on your.
That's interesting. That's something that by writing about this stuff, people would know then, because Gene.
It's because you're more like a tour guide when you're
you're
on your own piece, right?
Right. Well, and the actual name of a captain's license has to do with the fact that you are the operator of a vessel that has passengers.
Right.
And you're responsible for, not that you're not when you're kayak fishing, but it's totally different.
Correct. And Gene, at some point we will have you on the kayak fishing story, just so you know. We're getting there. By the way, sneak preview, Dwayne Wally will be on in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
We're going to talk about the evolution of the bump board. And then
if you guys are wondering what Marty's talking about, he's doing on his podcast on Thursday nights, Conversations with Kayak. Yeah. I know better than you now, see?
Yeah, you do.
He's doing the history of kayak fishing, and he's been bringing all the OGs out there to make sure we all have something to read down the road.
Yeah, and you guys know that every single guest we've had on so far, it is a guide or was a guide, and that I would say 90% of them still do not own a motor or pedals. They still paddle after 30 years. 30 years. They're still paddling. And I did it for 18 years and thought, man, I'll never use a motor or a pedal. And now look, man, it's like,
Until I had 3 shoulder surgeries, man, I
really
like that pedal or that motor.
Yep.
a lot of those guys have, like Gene, you said, their backs like Dean Thomas just got done with back surgery, and Jim Salmon's had back surgery.
Yep.
So my back hurts, but they probably were unloading and loading tons of kayaks. I just watched the people unload them for me, when we go out, but
Yep.
But I'll have to do that. So anything else we got? Hastings?
Nope, not me.
Oh, well, let's
just a general question about guiding real fast. Does anybody fly fish guide for reds?
Yes. Not for reds.
Yes.
On a so there is a group of people that redfish on kayaks or paddle boards, and you guide. Okay, that's all.
Yeah, Dean Thomas does down in.
Yeah, that's what I like about the Zulu, because it sets lower to the water, but you're able to stand up in the seat. And even when you're loading your fly up, you've got the room where you can put it in the basket, like right in the center hatch, right in the center there, where you can still have good castability, right for them. Plus it gets you higher off the water, where you could really sightsee these reds when they're tailing.
And it's the Zulu that has this. The Zulu that has the seat that you can sit on the backrest of the seat with your feet too, right, and just get up that other level as well. Yeah.
I'm going to ask Gene.
I've actually stood up on the back of it. I mean, it's that stable that I've actually.
Well, that's kind of like Vibe has with the perch on the Shearwater and those models. Like the perch is made for that too.
Wow, that's cool. So, Aaron, your first kayak that you ever owned, what was it?
It was a Wilderness System Riot.
Riot.
Do you remember that? It was a Riot.
Riot.
Yeah. They were actually Wilderness, or they were actually right here in North Carolina at one time. And
in Trinity.
Yep, in Trinity area. Yep, sure was. So I had a buddy of mine that worked over there, and they had one on blemish, and I said, hey, I'll take it. So, I didn't want to spend a lot of money at the time. I thought, I might like it. I had 3 boats at the time, so I was like, I might like it. I might not. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. But ended up getting that Riot, and man, I took that thing everywhere. I've had it offshore. I've had it in the rivers. I've had it on the snow. I've had it everywhere.
That's funny, and having Hastings on here from Vibe. Vibe is actually owned, if you guys I'm sure you know this, but they're owned by or part of the kayak distribution, and Riot is one of their brands. And Boreal Designs, and there's 7 or 8 now, right? How many?
Wow.
Beluga, Current Designs. We have the road molded molds and distribution rights, not the composite. And they're Azul, Cobra.
Azul, yeah, Cobra. So Vibe is the one that's based in the U.S., and the rest of them are up in Montreal, right, or Quebec?
Yeah. And historically,
So, Gene, what was your first kayak?
A Perception Sport.
Wow. I had the Perception Caster.
Yep, and I fished out of it 3 times and sold it to my brother-in-law.
Wow.
And that's why I say that the kayak angler's favorite kayak is their second one. So,
is that right? My second one was a Wilderness Ride. So that was pretty good. I had, what I had for my first one was a Old Town Otter. It had a little hole in it. It was like 8 foot long.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I fished out of.
Goodness.
Yeah.
My feet would fall asleep in there.
Like a little sit inside.
That was my problem. The Perception with my back, the way it was, my hips, I couldn't sit the same level as my feet. And you were sitting on top of it. Yeah. And I tried that and tried it. And I was like, there is no way I can do it.
And you were sitting in a puddle of water too. And
sitting butt in a puddle of water.
Yep. I wore a swimsuit all the time, man. It was horrible.
Yep.
It was, And they had a hole in the middle of the cockpit that you pulled a cork out of, the one I had, and it would fill with water. And I thought it would sink, but of course, because people today, even when you buy them, you have scupper holes, and they go, "Oh, that kayak's not going to float. There's holes in it."
Yep, I've got a video about that, about scupper
really?
holes,
That's
and
cool.
because so many of those bass boaters on the boat ramps like, hey man, isn't that thing gonna sink?
Yeah.
Oh no. But my first kayak is actually hanging up in my father-in-law's garage right now.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow.
so it's still in the family.
Have you guys been on kayakscupperplugs.com? You know that company? So they make scupper plugs specific to almost every single model, and they're like, they let water in. They don't let water in, but they let water out. They're like step up. Just kayakscupperplugs.com. It's pretty cool.
We used
just type in your model.
We used foam golf balls is what we used back then.
Well, that's very basic. I like those things.
Huh. Yeah,
they're
foam
very
golf
cool.
ball. And then I also I use pool noodles too to cut them up.
I've done that. I've done golf balls.
Yeah.
So check out that website. They're pretty neat.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah. It's
all right. I guess we're near the end here, Keith. We got to do a little giveaway tonight. What are we going to do? Give away some kayaks?
Obviously, a couple Vibes Shearwater 125s. Hastings is here. You can make the call.
Our attendance level always goes up around the hour time.
Yeah. Let's what do we have on for people watching here or making comments? Tanya's got to be there. I would like to know from Tanya if she got her stuff yet.
I don't know. Tanya, if you can hear us, did you get your stuff? I haven't got the Guardian Light thing yet, so.
You didn't get that yet? Because that's like lots of people have got it and lots haven't so far.
I haven't.
It's all spent at the same time.
Nope. I had a package from Z-Man, a package from Eagle Claw. And
you got your D-hookers?
I got my D-hookers, yeah.
Gene, did you receive, or Aaron, your D-hookers or Guardian Angel lights?
I just got my D-hooker.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, you got a pink one.
I got a pink and a green one. The green one's in the boat.
Nice.
Except I haven't had to take one out of myself ever, but I've taken out a few friends.
Did you get yours, Aaron?
I did. I got a pink and blue one. Yeah.
But no Guardian Angel lights yet?
Nope. Or they could have showed up while I was in Texas. Who knows?
Tanya has not received it yet. Uh-oh.
That's weird because I just talked with them the other day and everything's been shipped out, so I'll follow up. But
well, remember, they go by stagecoach to where I live.
Yeah. But I didn't tell them to all ship them to you, and then you'd send them out by carrier pigeon from there.
My post office is only open 4 hours a day. We just never know what 4 hours the lady's going to be there.
I lived in a town like that once.
Yeah. Where you go, there's a post-it note that says, might be here tomorrow.
They're at coffee at the cafe till like 11.
And it's at the end of my street 3 miles down the road, and I still don't ever know when to go.
That was good. Okay, awesome. What are we going to give away, Keith?
Why don't we give away an annual subscription to Kayak Angler and Paddling Magazine?
Okay.
With the new ones coming out right away.
Okay.
And I don't know who else is in here. We've been giving everything already.
We got to do two because I'm going to do a question about Gene, and you got to do a question about Aaron. How about that?
Okay.
How about
that? Let's do annual subscription to each magazine.
Yep. So the first one to answer, what is Gene Jensen's nickname? And then you go do your question too, Keith, so that way we can keep going.
I want to wait till they answer that one.
No, go ahead. They can answer that way. If somebody else wants to answer the other, they can answer the other one though. You know.
All right. So my question if they were listening.
I hope.
What's the name of Aaron's version of a black pack?
Ooh, that's a good one. We have a winner. Jordan Rhodes. He is from
which question?
The first question. Jordan Rhodes. He's from. By the way, he lives near me. He's from Auburn.
I guess I shouldn't say Aaron's version of a black bag. What type of cart? type.
Now that nickname
I'm sure
depends
it
on
does.
who you ask. There's the nicknames that Chad calls me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, a lot of people knew yours, Gene. They knew you were the Flute Master. Everybody answered Flute Master. So nobody knows the name of that crate?
He said it like 73 times. Hastings does.
Nobody's answered it yet.
What
wait, here
about
we go. The Laid Back Pack? Steven Sturgeon won.
Oh, laid back. What? That's
Laid
not
back
it.
That's not it.
It's not it?
Nope.
I wrote it down.
You type that into Google and you're gonna get something you don't want to get.
Oh, I got it. Steven, you got to be more specific. That's not our parental controls are turned off right now. So by the way, Tanya, it's not Fruit Master, it's Fluke Master.
So I was about 3 or 4 years ago, I was going to start my own line of baits that were made in China, and they were going to be the Fruckelmaster baits.
Tanya wins Laid Back Kayak Pack. Tanya,
You got it?
Yeah, Tanya, make sure you message me. Gordon, message me, and I'll get you the resource to get that.
I think subscriptions are the only thing Tanya hasn't won yet.
Yeah, she's won about everything.
Yep.
She's waiting for the cars and the boats to come out.
Yeah, they come in the second round.
Yeah, okay. So, guys, let's get the pose here, Keith. You got to tell them what to do.
Sorry?
Get the pose.
Okay. Oh, right. Oh, we're in the wrong position, though.
No, that's all right. I'll get it set up.
Okay. So Gene and Aaron, every kind of battle when we're on these podcasts, I've got every. Hang on, I'm just moving it around here. You guys gotta give one of those facing each other. I can do a screenshot because they're gonna put it in the magazine.
All right, let me scoot over.
You guys got it.
Gene, you're going this way, and Aaron, you're going this way.
Yeah. Other way, Aaron.
This way. There you go.
There we go.
A little bit lower. There you go. Okay. Now Gene's got it, man.
Well, Aaron, he's going to punch you in the back of the head, Aaron. You got to turn around.
Turn around.
You got to turn around, Aaron.
I'll turn around that way.
Now get
How's your dyslexia, Aaron?
Yeah. Pull your hands back, Aaron. Can't see them.
Hands higher.
Pull your hands back towards you and higher. And look at Gene.
There you go. Oh, Gene's got the pose, man.
Ready?
There they go.
All right, got it.
Nice one. Good job. That's good. And then let's see, we got a comment here. So yeah, those people that won, please message me and we'll get that to you. Hopefully the Guardian lights start coming out. So
yeah, they've got to be. Some people have already got them already, so they're on their way.
Okay.
So Gene, I have one question for you, actually. Like one of your longest time sponsors. I was watching, so I'm up in Revelstoke, British Columbia, right? I live on the Columbia River, and we do lots of trout and kokanee salmon fishing and stuff like that. That JJ's Magic stuff, I think, would be pretty sweet up here for how we fish with hoochies and different dyes and that red garlic blood scent and stuff. Where can you buy it in Canada? Because I can't find it anywhere.
I know Tackle Warehouse sells it.
We don't have Tackle Warehouse.
Yeah. I don't think he has ever shipped to Canada.
Really?
Yeah. He literally is a one-man shop. He's probably in his 70s by now. And he fills the bottles with old teapots.
Oh, yeah.
Stainless steel teapots.
If you guys are wondering what we're talking about, it's that dye that Gene uses. You watch your video of that 10-cup Tupperware container that's just like covered in color that you have foam cutouts in and stuff. Yeah.
We got a feedback problem going.
Yeah, we do. I can hear myself talking this way. It's weird.
Okay.
Anyway.
We're going to wind down. Don't forget to vote, everybody. Hastings, you got to vote, man. and you can vote every day. And remember, you have a chance of winning a kayak package. And Keith, thank you for everything, man. You guys do.
Yeah.
Kayak Owner Magazine.
Been great. Yeah, Gene, Aaron, Hastings, thanks for everything. Thanks for coming on. Also, Hastings and The Vibe for sponsoring this bracket, and Marty, as always, for hosting us again here on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Been awesome.
I'm learning as I go.
Pleasure to be here.
Good luck this week, guys. If there's, before we go, anybody, Gene and Aaron especially, you guys want to say shout out to sponsors or thanks, or tell the audience here why they should vote for your boat over the other guy's boat, let us know.
The biggest thing I always want to talk to people out about is the new TKS tournament series that me and my partner Michael put on, and it's just it's a 2-man, buddy, grab your buddy, go fish some of these tournaments. And it's a lot of fun, absolutely a blast. We had one on Murray already. We've got a Gunnersville next weekend. Then we go to Kentucky Lake, then to Nickajack, and then to the Susky in August. And pick great bodies of water in the best times of the year, and it should be an absolute blast.
How was the turnout so far?
It was pretty good. We met our goal of having what do we have? We had 35 teams or something like that.
Wow.
Wow, that's good.
Or 20, usually 25 or 35 teams. So it was pretty good. And then the reason I did it is because me and my travel partner, we share costs all the time, and it gives guys opportunity to team up, share costs, travel costs, stuff like that, and then be able to work together to try to win the tournament. And I think the coolest thing is our 10 fish limit is 10 fish over a 2-day period. So if you don't do good the first day, you still got the second day to catch all 10 of your fish if you need to. So
anybody can catch them.
Yeah, either one of either teammate. Wow. So there's not a requirement one way or the other.
So people know, you said TKS, is that Team Kayak Series?
Yeah, Team Kayak Series. Yeah.
Cool.
And it's $100 per person, so it's $200 a team.
Gee,
and 100% payout. I'm not trying to make any money at this. Just want to be able to break even with these municipalities, so my wife will let me keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, let's also hook up for a chat about that, because same thing with the Kayak Adventure Series and all these other ones. We're starting to help promote these through Kayak Angler, putting that out there on like shared pages and stuff. And let's have a chat how we can help you get the word out there too through our channels. That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And how about you, Aaron?
Yeah, man. I'd like to get with you more on that too, Gene. Maybe I'll find it on that for sure. I'm interested in that. But yeah, if you get a chance, anybody out there, just check out Kaku Kayaks, the Zulu, the new guru that's coming out. Anything you guys need, or I'm always willing to help. I'm sure Gene is too. Just vote. Go and vote.
And your guide service and website and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, guide service. Sorry about that, man. I'm wore out. I've been up since about 3:45 this morning at work, so it's been a long day. Yeah.
One more website. Come on.
Outdoor Adventures for You. You can hit me up on that. You can anything you need to know or want to talk about, you can link up with that. And it's Outdoor Adventures for You, the number 4, the letter U, at yahoo.com. So
that's good.
Thanks a lot, guys. And Hastings, anything last comments?
No, thank you for having me. I wish I'd known about the giveaway, and I would have come prepared to for some swag. But we do that next time. And
sometimes we do it.
It's great to.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate you having me on, and everybody check out the Hydra in about a month and the Shaka.
Nice. And the Shaka, yeah, that's cool. Pumped to try those out. Actually,
giveaway here.
I'm heading up to Sea Otter Lodge in June with a few people that we all know, and Hydra is going to be one of the boats coming up with us there. So 100%. Hastings is going to hopefully join us. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Right on.
Nice.
Well, thanks to everybody out there in podcast land for listening too, and have a good night, everybody. And I know I'm on Pacific time, so it's only 7:20 here, but
you're just getting
good night to the rest of you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot for being here.
Yeah, man. No problem.
And let me know when those light kits show up.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. For sure.